Up until 10:18 a.m., October 22, 2018, I thought that my life was a macabre collection of personal hells. Little chapters of trials and tribulations. Formed from birth till present day. One tragedy after another. A gift at birth from my mother. Then on that autumn morning, Dr. Freeman at Mount Sinai Hospital informed my dear friend, Maria and I, that I had late stage 4 squamous cell carcinoma and pharyngeal cancer. I was not scared. Somehow deep within my subconsciousness I knew I had this. I knew I would get through it and perhaps live a few more years. The doctors immediately wanted to perform salvage surgery. Removal of my larynx and a portion of my esophagus. Rendering me incapable of speech. Unable to eat via my mouth. Unable to take a mere sip of water. Quality of life equals 0, in my books. I refused. 2019 I spent over 33 weeks off and on in the Princess Margaret Cancer Center. Being in late stage 4 put me in the position of being unable to have any traditional treatment. Therefore I signed up for an experimental and radical radiation treatment. I endured 80 treatments in 20 days. The treatments worked insofar as shrinking the tumors. But, no good deed goes unpunished. The post-radiation therapy left me almost deaf, damaged vision and plagued with ulcers. The ulcers I still have almost 3 years later. In fact, one is undermining my tongue and eventually caused such to detach from my esophagus and choke me to my death. True story. I will deal with it when the occasion arises. Throughout my life I have been asked on numerous occasions how I managed to get past so many tragedies. Or told how strong I was. To answer the getting past aspect, I simply state, what choice did I have? No matter what, I would have no choice but to live through whatever had come my way. Unless I were to give up and lay down and fade off to the darkest bowels of manic depression. To answer as to how strong I am. Yes. Yes, I am a strong individual. In order to literally grow through my developmental adolescence, I had to become streetwise and mentally tough. Too much so. Being such, robbed me of the joys of childhood, the chaos of being a teen and the regimes of school years. The largest problem people who have multiple personalities suffer is in having such they also have multiple emotions. Multiple happiness, sadness, prides, shames. I am sure that you get the drift. That is a heavy burden to carry through a life. It was / is the catalyst for emotional disparities and physical unwellness. I suffer these ailments often. It's hard. Very hard. Although, somehow I have managed to make it through these past 6.5 decades. To quote Sir Elton John, I'm still standing. Where the strength to withstand all I have been through originated is a psychological matrix of complexities. When I look back over the years, I think about the greatest moments in my life. They were not my accomplishments. They were conversations I have had with my boys and all the youth who took refuge in my home. Like this evening, Dakota and I sat outside and ate our supper. A simple everyday thing. And we talked. Just talked. Nothing in particular. One of those conversations where I learned from him and he learned from me. My youth, biological, adopted, and those ones that I kidnapped and kept under the stairs all knew that they could speak to me about anything at all. With all the social distractions and hustle and bustle of today's world, it is comforting to know that I have touched these youth in a way that they will always remember. I had over 30 fathers in my life as a ward of the crown. Only 3 of which I respected. Because of this, fatherhood was alien to me. I learned as I grew. I may not be the greatest father in the world, but I am a dad. I became a dad by having these talks. Why? Because we talked. Just ate our supper and talked. I spent 2 or so years out of 63 at home with my real family. I left because I knew that I was going to be a gangster and I didn't want to be an influence on my baby sister and brother. My worst fear being that they may glorify my walking in the dark side. Hindsight beats witness to the embarrassment I hold for the path I chose. The talks I have had with all the youth in my life gave me an education that cannot be learned or taught in any institution. I know that I have influenced a few lost souls in my life, and I can stand at the mighty gates and hold my head high. For I readily admit to all my wrongs, and I readily will accept the penance I must serve. I also know that there will be many souls that will shed a tear and say that I was their dad. I know that they will talk to their loved ones as they talked with me. And I pray that after my time in purgatory is complete, I will be allowed to go to my version of Valhalla.